Happy day, everybody, and welcome back to Mortgage Talk with Mark. And I'm your host, Mark Harrison, and very excited to bring on a good friend of mine live from Dallas, Texas. You're still in Dallas, Kyle, aren't you?
Well, Fort Worth, the better side of
Oh, there you go.
Dallas.
I was there last
Yeah,
weekend. And so Kyle Draper is a good friend. I met about 5 or 6, 7 years ago. I can't remember, but he was down in Austin talking about video marketing for small businesses. And I'm in the mortgage space, obviously, with a group of realtors. And Kyle was on stage and did a phenomenal job. I was like, this guy really knows what he's talking about. So I've been following him for a long time and actually hired him on a couple occasions to teach me a little bit more about video marketing, which is a big deal in small business right now between YouTube and Reels and Shorts and all sorts of things. So I want to introduce my friend Kyle Draper from Dallas, or from Fort Worth, Texas. Sorry about that.
hey, Mark, I'm honored to be here, man. This
Good.
is a long time coming. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, last time I saw you were in New Orleans at a conference. Had
That's
some
right. We got some
aspirations.
good Cajun food together.
Amen. Amen. Well, take us back a little bit to kind of kick us off today about your past, your story, kind of how you ended up here right now in your business.
Yeah, Mark. So I was a youth pastor in my 20s, and so I thought I would do that my whole life. And all of a sudden, around the age of 30, I just felt this calling to go be in the business world. And I didn't know what that meant. I'd never been in the business world before. The church gig was like my first real job other than just summer jobs,
Right.
during school. And so God has a sense of humor. And I went from being a pastor, which I felt adored for, to roofing, where no one cares. Right? Nobody's like, "Ooh, let me tell you my favorite roofer." Everybody
That's right.
hates roofers.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, I mean, Mark,
I
I went
just had my
from
roof replaced, so I can tell you that's true.
100%.
Yeah.
And so I went from like feeling so proud of my profession to being embarrassed to even walk into a business networking meeting
Mm,
because I didn't want anybody to ask me what I did.
yeah.
But it was during that season as a roofer that Facebook Live came out. And so I started doing live video, and I was on the roofs of houses doing videos. No one cared. My wife questioned all of the videos I was doing. And then one day, what felt like wasted effort, a hailstorm came through Oklahoma City.
Mm,
I got over 100 inbound leads in 24 hours, phone
wow.
calls, text messages, emails, DMs. Everybody saying, so and so said, you're the best roofer. So and so shared your video with me. And Mark, that was my moment of like, oh my gosh, this works.
Yeah.
What I've been committed to with zero fruit is now becoming fruitful.
Right.
And that just led down this journey of now teaching and educating realtors mostly how to leverage video in their social media business. And then that led into the mortgage side. And I've started a couple other companies since then that we may or may not talk about. But if it wasn't for roofing, I would have never wrote a book about social media. I would have never wrote a new book about video. And it's just played such a pivotal role in everything I've done since then.
That's
And
amazing.
man, we're having fun.
It's funny because sometimes with video work, like you said, you're doing work, but you're not sure if anybody's paying attention
That's
until
right.
one day a storm comes through, and a lot of people had been paying attention. You know.
And that's the, in our world, in the mortgage space, and then also in the real estate space, like most people don't need what you do all the time.
Right. That's right.
They might go 3 or 4 years and they're kind of watching your stuff, but they're not necessarily engaged. And so you just assume people are gone. And then boom, they get that itch to buy. The rates
Yep.
change. And now all of a sudden you go, oh my gosh, people that were paying attention, I didn't think were paying attention. And it yields unbelievable dividends if we stay committed to the process, but most people don't because that instant gratification doesn't happen with video very often.
Yeah, I just closed a loan for a good friend of mine from college. I say good friend. I haven't seen Rick in a long time, and I didn't even realize he was living in Austin. And he called me because he'd been watching some
I
video
love
I
it.
did, and he was buying a house in Galveston out of the blue. I hadn't talked to Rick in probably 30 years.
Awesome.
And we reconnected, went some baseball games. We had a great time. So let's talk a little bit about video work in between. What's the difference between just posting content and really getting content to make the needle move a little
Well,
bit?
Mark, it's
Or is it any different?
so yeah, most people, well, the difference is one works and one doesn't, right? That is
Yeah.
the literal difference. But most of us don't truly believe that social media works. So we don't give genuine
So they don't
effort
do it.
there. Right? We
Right.
figure out how to do enough to not feel guilty, but we don't ever do enough to actually win. And so
Yeah.
it's this
Yeah.
weird,
And that's
teeter-totter.
what I've always admired about you over the years, because I'm one of those guys who sees you a lot
Yeah.
on video, and you do some remarkable stuff because it's always engaging. Part of it's just your
Sure.
personality
Yeah.
and your presence, but a lot of times it's your message too. But it doesn't have to be real complicated. It's just that you're always there.
Always.
So I think about Kyle Draper a lot. So I think I want to get this guy on my podcast and share this a little bit more with people, because a lot of people are intimidated by getting
Right.
on camera, even
I
for
am
a
too.
minute or two. Yeah, me too.
We're
Me
human
too.
beings.
No question about it. So tell us a little bit about the different types of video between long form possibly and short form, and where do you find the
Well,
spot?
the sweet spot is, in my opinion, is when you can do what you're doing right now, where you're creating long form content. And the beauty of like this podcast, right? So we're going to record 26-ish minutes of content.
Okay.
And the beauty of long form content is now, once you and I finish this interview, this can get chopped up into 100 different videos. This can get chopped up into blog posts. This can get chopped up into, email campaigns. And so there's so much value in recording long form content. Most people don't enjoy the long form content. It takes a little longer to do. They don't trust they don't have confidence in, man, I feel like I could do something for 30 seconds, but gosh, 10 minutes, that just feels like such a long time. And so most people default to just short stuff, which are Reels, TikTok, Reels, TikToks, YouTube Shorts, all those things. And Mark, what's interesting is most people, they start doing Reels and TikToks. They're chasing trends based on what the internet tells them works. And then ultimately they create a bunch of content that nobody cares about, that doesn't position them as an expert. And so in our world, whether it's lending, real estate, or small business down in the Austin area or anywhere that somebody's watching or listening to this, you don't need to know more people. You need to know the right people.
Yeah.
And so the game should really be built around long form content, in my opinion, because that requires the least of your physical effort. And then everything else springboards from there. And it's pretty unbelievable what happens when we develop this ecosystem like you now have.
Yeah. And I do want to for sure talk about your business, because you're a prolific writer, and this is a book I just picked up called Rethink Everything: The Power of Video for Business. And it's a phenomenal book, and I just want to put that out there because you've done a lot of books. So let's talk about some of your books and what do you think you bring to the table for the small business person typically.
Yeah, Mark, I wrote my first book 2.5 years ago in the middle of the night in Mexico, when I was woken up and God said, go write a book. And that's what I did. And that's how the Purple Book came to be. And it's all about social media. And then people started saying, man, Rethink Everything. That's such a cool name.
It is.
I love that name. And so I'm not smart enough to come up with anything on my own. So I needed people to tell me that. And then I was like, oh, you know what? That is a good name. Maybe there's more to this thing than just this measly Purple Book. Yeah. And so now we have the Rethink Everything series. And so
I know
the goal of this is to kind of be the new age book for dummies. And instead of calling people dummies, we're going to love on people through the positivity side. And so we're 7 books in. We've got 6 books in process right now. We've got another 6 that are already in line to come out next year. And so we're writing books. And I say, I'm not writing very many books. I'm partnering with the right people. So If you have any
Sure.
friends that they've got a book in
Would
them,
know something.
you know, I'd love to
Yeah,
talk to them. Maybe you've got
absolutely.
one.
Yeah, maybe so. Well, and this one is for business and sales. So tell us about some of the other titles, maybe, or other areas that people may want to pick
Yeah.
up and
So
explore.
we've got a social media one. That's the purple one. We've got a mortgage book
Okay.
specifically. That's our green book. Rethink everything you know about being a next generation loan officer. We've got our red book, which is Rethink everything you know about CRMs. And so if you're struggling with your
Wow.
CRM, if you've always had a CRM but never actually leveraged it, it's an incredible book. We have a Rethink Everything book for real estate sales. So for realtors, that's our orange book. We've got Rethink Everything You Know About the Customer Experience. And so that's talking about for
Awesome.
any small business, like how do we wow people? How do we surprise and delight them throughout the experience? And then we've got Rethink Everything You Know About Financial Literacy for teens. It's our first teen book.
Love that.
And then we have the blue one that's about video. We've got an insurance book coming out. We've got a networking book coming out. We've got
Yeah.
an AI book coming out. We've got a lot going on.
That's amazing. You know, I remember listening to a guy named Jay Abraham years ago about building business, small business, or any business for that matter. And he says
Yeah.
there's only 3 ways to increase a business or to enlarge a business or grow a business. First of all, you got to increase the number of customers, number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2, you got to increase the conversion rate of those prospects to business. You know, if 10
Right.
people walk in the door, how many people are going to buy something? And thirdly, you have to increase the number of times they come back to buy more.
That's
You
right.
know, and you're covering all those bases, it seems like, in some of these books, you know, because
Absolutely.
video marketing is coming out of the you know, if you were the dark side, it used to not be very popular, but you're bringing it to the forefront in lots of different ways. And I love that, you know.
Yeah. Well, and what I love about what you said that Jay Abraham said is the power of video covers all 3 of those things.
It sure
Right.
does.
The power of video helps get new people. Using video in your processes is going to increase the amount of people that say yes.
Right.
And then keeping people connected to you through the power of video is going to ultimately keep them coming back more often and then bringing other people when they do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's your CRM conversation. You've got
That's
a
it.
database of customers, but if you don't contact them through some platform, whether it be
Right.
email or phone calls, you know, video is a great way to do that.
Absolutely.
So, you know, let's talk a little bit about if you're brand new to video. Let's say you've got a small business, and it could be
Yeah.
a roofer. Let's take a roofer as an example. So, yeah,
Sure.
really, because there's a lot of competition in roofing.
Yep.
You know, how would somebody get started? I think they need to be talking to taking some of your courses. Be honest with you.
Yeah, 100%. Give me all your money and I will get you squared away with video. But Mark, to me, it's really simple. So the reason people struggle, a little pre-story before I fully answer the question. The reason we struggle so much with this is because most people see video as public facing. And so now me telling you to go fail publicly while you learn to get good, that's not fun, right? Like
No,
nobody wants to do that.
painful. Nobody wants to
Right?
do
Like,
that.
you know, I don't want somebody to sign, like if in my first 6 months of marriage, somebody's like, hey, we want to pay you to come follow y'all around. Be like, ooh, I don't know about that. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. And I'm going to put this out there for people.
I still
There's no
don't know
way.
after many, many years.
No, me either. And so we've got to change the playing field. The playing field is not public. The playing field is you can get better at video in private.
Mhm.
And so what I mean by that is what everyone should do right now that is a novice at video is you just need to practice in private.
Yeah.
How do I recommend practicing in private?
With your iPhone.
12 years ago, when I started thinking about doing video, I realized that I needed a lot of practice. And so I had this random idea to tell my wife, hey, every time you text me, I'm going to respond with a video. And I didn't know what I was doing at the time. But Mark, what happened is in 30 days, I sent my wife like 140 videos. And we won't speak to how annoyed she was.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
guess who was really confident about video at the end of those 30 days?
Kyle Draper.
I was.
Yeah.
And none of those ever made it to the internet.
Right.
So we can get good at this in practice. And so pair up with your spouse, pair up with a buddy. Y'all commit to sending videos back and forth to one another for 30 days. And now you will step onto the playing field of the internet, of business, with this newfound confidence for the hardest thing there is to do
It's a great idea
in our world.
I love that. You know, and you may or may not remember this, but when I saw you down in New Orleans at a conference, we went to lunch.
Yeah.
And with Shara, my wife, and we're walking back to the hotel. And you say, "Let's do a video." I said, "What do you mean do a video? We're just walking." He goes, "It's called a walking video. You just talk and walk." And
That's right.
like, I love that. You know, we did a little video right there. It's fun. I wouldn't have thought of that.
You want to know the science, Mark, behind that type of video? What I have discovered is if I can keep my brain busy, I have less time to worry about myself.
Mm.
And so if I'm sitting at my desk, you know, you're sitting in studio, and from this environment, there's a lot of pressure to do video really well. Right?
Right here.
When you've got all the things ready.
Yeah.
Now the pressure's on. But if I just go outside and walk because it's a pretty day out, and now I do video, my brain is looking around for cars. My brain is looking around for other people. My brain is so preoccupied with the environment that I'm in, it doesn't have time to overthink the video that I'm about to do.
Right. You're just talking about life, you know, or where you are, or, you know, and there may be a certain point to it, but just talking.
Yeah. So you and your wife are walking down the street, and it's like, let's do this. Let's just have fun. And it allows for you to be seen in a different light, because that's a different version of us than studio version of us.
Right. That's right. That's right. And that speaks to another question about personal storytelling, you know, to be a little more vulnerable about your personal life and building trust. Is that a hot topic these days, as opposed to just being professional, but being kind of real with people, who I really am?
Yeah.
You know?
AI has wildly changed this conversation, because now, you know, AI video is coming to the place where it's pretty darn hard to tell the difference. And so now what I think we're going to notice, Mark, is the only way we'll know the difference is if you make a mistake in your video, because that mistake would have never happened if it were AI.
Yeah.
And so I think we're seeing this weird turn where, like, you almost are better off messing up in your video and leaving it there so that people know it's really you, than editing everything out and people go, was that really Mark, or was that AI? Because that seemed pretty perfect.
Right.
And so more than ever, like, as a society, we just crave authenticity. We crave anything that we believe to be real, because we're so used to interacting with things that aren't. And so if you can be that real lender, that real realtor, that real small business owner that shows up in the messy, you're going to stand out and win so much more, because we're craving it now more than ever.
I think so too. I think society is, you know.
Yeah.
And also when it comes to trying to be perfect, you know, I think people appreciate when people flub up a little bit. You know, as an example, I love to watch. I'm a big Seinfeld fan, you know, over the years. I've seen probably most all of them. But what I love to watch is the bloopers.
That's
you know,
right.
Sometimes they'll post their bloopers, and that's almost as funny as the regular show, you know?
So my family are big Marvel. We're a big Marvel family. So we love all the Marvel movies. And so on every Marvel movie, they do a gag reel. And so whenever a new Marvel movie comes out, like, my kids are like, okay, the movie's over. Can we watch the gag reel?
Yeah.
Because those are the little bitty moments where Thor goes from being the god of thunder to a human being.
Right.
And in those little bitty moments, I can go, man, me and Chris Hemsworth are kind of the same. Now, we're not, right? There's zero similarities in the two of us. But we're looking for that moment of, how do I take this celebrity superstar and bring them down to a level where they're relatable? And it is through the mess ups, not through the takes that went really well.
I love that.
And so we've got to adopt that into what we do.
Yeah, and there's a certain, if you will, celebrity status too. You talk about celebrities just being on video. Like, when people saw you maybe on those roofs, you were a roof expert, you know? And
100%.
and when they contact you, like, this is the guy I have to use. You know?
Absolutely.
I love that.
Well, here's what's cool about the internet. It's also the frustrating thing about the internet. We are allowed to become known for whatever we talk about the most.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I live in Fort Worth, but if I decided today, I'm going to start doing videos about all the different hot dog products in Austin. A year from now, I'd become known as like the Austin hot dog guy.
Yeah, you would.
If you want to know anything about hot dogs in Austin, you better not reach out to anybody other than Kyle. And it's not because I took a course on Austin and then took a course on hot dogs. It's because I just showed up and started talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was actually, I was meeting with a friend of mine yesterday who's been in the mortgage world 5 years, but she's always been in marketing. And she just became an LO 6 weeks ago.
Wow.
So she knows more about our industry than the typical 6 weeks in LO.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, if a realtor were to ask her, like, oh, how long have you been in LO? Her answer is 6 weeks.
Mm.
And so I told her, I said, Val, why are you not posting more of your podcast that you do that positions you as the expert?
Yeah.
If somebody stacked you up against the 10-year veteran and they're not good on social, and then you're over here with a podcast in a studio,
Mm-hmm.
you might actually be dumber than that person. But
right.
the world will think you're smarter because
Absolutely.
we just assume, oh, dude, Mark has a podcast. He must be crushing it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny.
Whether that's true or not.
Yeah. Time will tell, I guess, you know.
But that's what people, I mean, people say that to me all the time.
That's right.
Bro, you're crushing it. And I go, why do you think that? And all of them, Mark, say, dude, I just see you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So they associate being visible with success. And whether that's true or not, I'm not trying to change their opinion.
Well, you know, before we got on today, Kyle, you were telling me that a lot about what you do is around encouraging people too. You know, 30-day challenges. You challenge people a little bit more to get them started. Tell us more about that work too, because people they'll just not do it.
We are basket cases of emotion, right? We're human beings.
Yeah.
Like we were wired to feel things. Some of us more extreme than others. And whether we are willing to admit it or not, like we want to be liked by other people. Because that's what human beings need. Like we need that. And so
they fear rejection.
100%. And so part of this, like this is why one of my nicknames is the video marketing therapist, because when you start trying to do video, it exponentially increases all of the insecurities that you possess. You are instantly fatter, older, stupider. Your hair is worse than it's ever been before, right? Like everything about yourself that you are nervous about or ever feel insecurity for, it goes to the nth level. And so
that's right.
This is why most people chase virality, because that, if I can go viral, then that from the world standards is that pat on the back, right? So the hard part of all this is that what I've seen is for you and I to do this consistently, we have to overcome making it about us, and we have to make it about what it does for others.
Yeah, good point.
Because if we only get on here to be great, the moment insecurity sleeps in, like you and I don't want to do this anymore. But if we're getting stories from people, if you have people in Austin that start going, man, I love your show. Man, I got to tell you the story about episode 5. This is where I was, and this is the outcome because of your episode. Now it's easier to wake up going, man, we're helping people. Like this is serving people.
It's fun,
and
too.
That's the only way I've found is it's either got to be fun or it's got to be serving. Without those two things, one or both, you're never going to overcome your own ego.
Yeah.
And so that's got to get tapped into.
Good point. I love that. We've only got a couple minutes, so let's talk a little bit about the future, because you touched on AI, but AI is not going to be going away. It's only getting more and more. So where do you see things in the next year? If somebody really wanted to kind of jump into this, do you have any expertise around AI at all, or
I don't have expertise from the level that you should pay me for what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
But we live in it in all of my companies. I'm in AI every single day.
Right.
And you know, I'll tell you what we tell everybody is AI isn't going to replace you, but someone doing your job using AI they absolutely will. And so this isn't I'm going to go bury my head in the sand because I'm afraid of this taking my job. This is mate, if you're the LO, if you're the loan officer that doesn't understand AI, you're going to lose to all the loan officers that do.
You're in trouble. Yeah, you are in trouble for sure.
And it's only going to get crazier. But the only thing that as of now AI will never fix or be able to overcome is that it can't do a relationship.
Yeah.
And so it's all the more reason why we have to show up more often than we do, because we will get out technologied, but we cannot get out relationshiped by these bots, by these big companies. And so what you are doing right now, what we're doing right now, this is the way.
This is not AI. This
Absolutely.
is the real deal, you know. Me and Kyle just chatting over video, but we got just a few seconds left. Give us some closing thoughts about video marketing, why it's so important, and have people jump in.
Closing thoughts is this: the average human, the average adult in America sees over 5,000 brands a day. Driving in their car, walking the aisles of a grocery store, right? Being on our phones and seeing ad after ad after ad after ad. 5,000 brands a day. Guess what? Yours is supposed to be one of those. And so not only for many of you are you not one of those 5,000, but even if you were one of those 5,000, is that enough when there's 5,000 other people vying for people's time? And so video isn't about what it does immediately. It's about what it does over time. And you've got to be more top of mind with people.
Well, brother, great to be with you, man. Our time is
Yes,
up,
sir.
unfortunately. We may have to reschedule this in the future to keep going to part 2. But in the meantime, thanks again for your time. And I've learned a lot, as always, from Kyle Draper. And
thanks
we'll
for
be in
having
touch.
me.